I turned these old weedy beds into a front yard veggie garden. And the only rule I followed was no rules. I weeded the beds, planted onions, strawberries, lettuce, beetroot, way too many carrots, but we'll talk more about that later, and then covered it up with these bird nets and watched it grow. 2 months later, I'm now back and we're gonna see what's growing, what failed, and if my no rules garden is working. Bed number 1 is this onion bed. Now, to be specific, it's cream gold onion, but I didn't do anything special here. I obviously prepared the bed and then just got a whole bunch of onion sproutings or little baby onions, randomly put them all over this bed. It looks like it's actually going not too bad. Some of these onions are actually starting to develop quite a lot. You can see that there's, a bit of a bulb down the bottom. There's definitely a little bit of inconsistency. Some of them are really small and hardly grown at all, and some of them are really well developed. I was getting a little bit concerned with this bed because it was taking a long time for the onions to develop. They didn't grow a whole lot, but just recently they've all started to get a little bit more shape. One thing that I'm really happy about with this bed is that the weeds have not gotten out of control. I've been able to manage it. I just come along here every now and then, pluck out a couple weeds, and it's been super neat and super manageable, which hasn't always been the case, as you're about to see. Yes, it may take a little while for these to develop into large onions, but by the end of this summer, or in a couple months at least, these onions are going to be good to go. I'm feeling relatively confident. Another thing that I thought I'd quickly mention is that I've been very happy with this netting system. I ended up putting poly pipe around all the edging, and it just makes it super easy to pop them on and off, access the beds, and then put it back on. Been very happy with how that's working. This is my iceberg lettuce. Well, I don't think it's called an iceberg. I'll put on the screen what this lettuce is called, but it looks like an iceberg. It looks like that, big bowl shape that you would expect to see from an iceberg lettuce. Some of them are growing really, really good. These 3 here, I'm very impressed with how they're coming along. These 2 here look a little bit, I don't know if it's diseased or just got a bit discoloring and not as pretty, these ones. Looks like their growth's been a little bit stunted. Something hasn't quite gone right there. These ones here, I'm really, really proud of. They look absolutely great. And I think we're gonna have to harvest one of these today. This is a little bit satisfying. I've never actually harvested a lettuce before. I'm not gonna lie, I have come and grabbed a couple bits of lettuce off this already, but I thought it'd be fun to harvest this one like that. Because that's when you go to Coles, that's what it looks like in the shop. And I've never grown one that looks like this. So let's just pick one for today. Let's see how it looks. You grab it like this? I have no idea. Don't judge me. This is probably not how you do it. Look at that. Oh, you know what I should do? I've probably done this wrong. You should probably, I don't know if this is how you're meant to do it. I have my knife here. I've never done this. You're probably meant to chop that bottom bit off. Yeah, that's how they do it. Aha. Stick that in there. That's how you're meant to harvest it. I don't know. That would go in the compost. Let's just give that to the chickens. They'll like that. How my life has gotten to a point where I'm harvesting an iceberg lettuce like this from my front yard and recording it to show the world my excitement. I don't know how this has happened, but I am very grateful. Praise the Lord. This is beautiful. That looks really great. Don't forget my knife. And then whammy. Very nice. This next bed has been a little bit more chaos, although it has been very successful. As you can probably guess already, this bed was half lettuce and half beetroot. And again, I didn't really follow any rules with this bed. I just threw the beetroot in there and threw the lettuce in. I probably put the lettuce too dense. I put a whole lot of lettuce in here, and the lettuce grows so easy, and it's grown a crazy amount. We've already harvested a lot of lettuce from here. The other day, I actually had to come here and get rid of some of the weeds from this bed because the weeds in here have been so bad. But I just wanted to get it manageable before I filmed this video. Anyway, I think it's going great. Like I said, there's heaps of lettuce here, which we've already got, and some of this is probably ready to be harvested as well. We're gonna have to just give some away, I think. Some of these beetroots are actually really quite massive. I really wasn't sure how well they would grow, but I'm very, very happy with these, and I think we're gonna have to harvest some today because, well, they're ready, and who doesn't? You guys wanna see these too, don't you? All right, let's pull this beetroot. Surely this is ready. Let's have a look. Oh boy, that is a big beet. That is a big boy. Look at that, it's nice. I reckon we might as well do one more. One more while we're here, while we're all here together. Let's do it. Come on. Oh, come on, out you come. Look at that. Oh, mate. Contrary to the fact that I'm standing here with two big beetroots, I have never been a big beetroot guy. Samantha did request that we grew some beetroot, and I think she's going to be very happy with these. Well, I'm happy with them, and I'm not even that excited to eat them, so she should be very happy. I've just gone and got a basket because everything looks better in a basket. And if I just lay this in here like that, and these beetroots in here like this. Oh, what a beautiful morning in the garden we have had, harvesting these fresh vegetables. Look at that, Bean.
Harvest time!
Harvest time, you're right.
That's a blood green.
What do you think about that, Zipper? What do you think of those beetroots?
Whoa, sweet, looks like a purple sweet potato. It's huge. Whoa, I didn't know they were that big under the ground. Look, Dad is a good gardener.
You want to eat some?
Actually, you pull these beetroot out in good time because I have some cabbage in there and I want to make sauerkraut, and I love adding beetroot in sauerkraut. This morning in the kitchen, I'm making a sweet and slightly spicy pulled beef in the slow cooker. This one is a big family favourite for so many reasons. Firstly, it's a favourite by me because it literally takes 15 minutes to get into the pot. And it's also a favourite for my children because it does involve a really good dose of maple syrup. This sauce is one of the simplest to make, and it will really encourage you to start making things from scratch. It only has 5 ingredients and it's so unbelievably delicious. And just like that, dinner prep is literally done. I just go ahead and place it on the slow cooker and it will be ready in 8 hours.
All right, this next bed is actually been a great success, I reckon. I planted 6 strawberry bushes in here, and now in hindsight, I reckon I probably could have fitted a few more. There's definitely more than enough room in here. I don't know how much more these strawberry bushes are going to grow. As you can imagine, I have hardly got to eat any because both of my 2 young children, bless them both, always come out here and grab the strawberries, even if they're not quite ripe. To them, it is good enough. And yeah, Dad doesn't really get to eat too many, but every now and then I might sneakily find one that they missed. I know right now this bed doesn't look like a whole lot, but it would surprise you how fast these strawberries grow. Like, look how many strawberries are coming on this plant here. I don't know how long exactly, but very soon this will just be full of strawberries. And I would say almost every single day there has been a strawberry to come out here and pick. Apparently the children have been kind enough to leave me this absolute whopper. If I don't eat this now, it will be gone by the end of the day. Now, if you can remember, these last 2 big beds are much more interesting. Now, this is probably my favorite bed. However, there has been a couple problems with it. And one of those problems is, you may remember, I decided to put in a couple random flowers in this bed. And one of them was called Angel's Choir. This is called Angel's Choir poppies. So I've never grown it before. I just got these seeds, threw them all in a seed tray. They come out looking like this. I don't know if you're meant to thin it out or grow them all together, but doesn't matter, no rules. I think it will look cool. But somehow I have ended up with this. This is apparently Angel's Choir. It looks nothing like an Angel's Choir. And it is taking over the whole bed. It's just going nuts. Can somebody please tell me what is going on here? But I genuinely really love this bed because I did such a diverse amount of things in here. You can see there's onions growing in sort of rows here, and then I've got the marigolds there and they're doing really well. Then I've got these 2 strawberry plants here, which are again producing a whole heap of strawberries, which you can see there's actually heaps on here. The children obviously haven't found this one, which is great for me. And then more onions on this side. I did plant this tomato here, right in the middle, and honestly, it's taken a very long time to get going. It's been very slow. Maybe I gave it a bit of a shock when I transplanted it. I do have a couple concerns for this bed, and one of them is this very big tree right above it. The way this bed's orientated, it basically never gets the sun. This tree is literally completely above it. I'm concerned that the lack of sunlight is the reason why a lot of these stems are a bit weak. They're a bit long and straggly. I feel like they're growing, look like they're growing good, but perhaps they're growing really high because they're looking for the sun and they're trying to get more sun. And that's why maybe they're not developing good bulbs. So for example, this onion here is very thin, but then it's got a nice sized bulb down the bottom. And same, for example, with this one, quite thin, and then you can see there is an onion growing there. But then some of these other onions, you can see they've got quite a thick, I don't know if it's called a stem, but that's, you know, the base of it. Even this one, look at that. It's really thick, really thick. And then I can't see much of an onion developing at the base. So I'm a bit concerned that only half these onions are doing well, but I mean, time will tell. Someone in the comments can let me know what's going on here. This Angel's Choir monstrosity, like that's an onion. Look at this poor onion down in there. It's got a nice little bulb on it. It's trying to grow, but like it's literally just getting bullied. Same with this onion here. They're getting a bit tense. Like that literally never sees the sun. That's north. So these onions are just never getting any direct sunlight. Naughty, 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 naughty. I'm not sure what I should do. If I should just rip this thing out. It's kind of annoying me, to be honest. I'd happily just go and donate this to the chickens. This little piece of hope, this right here is the only thing keeping this big weed basically in my garden bed. I'm hopeful that something amazing happens soon. Let me know in the comments what you think. Should I just rip this out? Besides this Angel's Choir mess here, I actually really love this bed the most. It's kind of chaos in that there's lots of different things, but it's just enough structure that it's nice. The marigolds, the onions, the strawberries, the tomato, the flowers, but then more onions and the marigolds. I don't know, this is just my favorite bed. I like seeing a little bit of diversity, but enough structure that it's still neat. This next bed has caused me nothing but problems. Prior to doing this garden bed, I actually thought I could trust the comment section. I thought me and you were friends. I thought we could trust each other. But here I am videoing myself pouring, I think 1,500 carrot seeds and a whole bunch of other seeds into one garden bed. No rules. Oh boy. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Oh boy. This is fun. This is fun. I'm having fun. No rules. Will it work? I don't know. Absolutely terrible idea. I don't know what come over me at the time. This bed, literally nothing can grow. It is way too dense. There's a million things. I come in here all the time and I just rip stuff up and then I just throw it in here trying to make space, trying to give whatever's in here a chance. But between all the weeds and grass that's growing and 1,500 million carrots and other things, I don't know if anything is actually going to be successful. Guys, if I am going to be successful as a homesteader and a gardener and growing food, I'm going to need to trust you. If you see me doing something absolutely ridiculous, that is clearly a bad idea, please comment and say, hey Tom, that's a bad idea, mate. Or, hey Tom, don't do that many carrots. Hey Tom, why don't you just thin that out a little bit early? It's going to help you later on. Oh, mate, don't let me do silly things like this again. Just tell me next time, all right? This was a bad idea. What I've been doing is I'll come in and I'll sort of just try and break through the weeds because there's just so much. And I'll try to look in here and see what's just grass, what's weeds, and what's a carrot. Look, I've just pulled up a weed and a carrot and another carrot. But like, I mean, the chickens will be grateful for all of this, but I'm not. It is not a success. Look at that. Well, that's not good. That's not good at all. Why did I do that? This is just these two big weeds in the middle here. One, that one, root, that one. This garden bed actually reminds me a lot of the parable that Yeshua tells. Jesus tells a parable and he says, the kingdom of heaven is like a farmer who goes out and plants good seed in his garden. And then an evil one comes along and plants bad seed and a whole bunch of weeds in his garden. And then the workers, they say, Master, do you want us to go out there and pull out all the weeds and get the weeds out of your garden? And the master says, no, don't pull out the weeds, because at least when you're pulling out the weeds, you might pull out all the good stuff, all the seed, all the wheat. He says, wait until the end of the age. Wait until the harvest, and then at the end, we will come and separate the weeds. And that's the technique that I'm going to use here. I'm very sure that parable is actually talking about the end of the age, when Yeshua comes back and the angels will come and separate the wheat and the tares. He will separate the good and the bad, and he will decide who gets to go live in the kingdom. That's definitely the real application of that parable, but nonetheless, I'm going to use it here. I'm going to let the weeds grow kind of amongst the carrots, and hopefully, I've got one right here, hopefully at the end of the age, or when this garden bed is ready, The carrots aren't all this small. Hopefully some of them are big and it's much easier to separate the carrots and the weeds. I have done a fair bit of weeding today and there's probably about 50 carrots in here as well, but the chickens will appreciate it. These ladies will be very excited. Give them the bell. Grubs up, here we go. Who wants some fresh greens? Look out, I'll get you on the head. They look like happy chickens, and I'm a happy homesteader. That's a good trade. Thank you, beautiful ladies.
Okay, so the beef has finished cooking. I'm going to take the pot out and bring it to the bench. Ready? Whoa! Alright, so I'm just going to take all the steaks out, give them a little shake, and pop them on the board here. Now, before I shred all this beef up, I'm going to take this pot back to the Instant Pot station thing, and I'm just going to saute this, basically boil it so it thickens, reduces, and creates the sauce. Now we are having this beef in wraps tonight, which we made this morning, and this exact beef recipe is in my slow cooking cookbook. I included it because it's one of those meals that feels so achievable on a busy day, but still feels like you've put a whole lot of effort in. The whole cookbook is filled with simple, from scratch, slow cooker meals just like this. Easy ingredients, whole food flavors, and that hands-off style of cooking our family really relies on. If you'd like more recipes that fit this style and rhythm, then I'd love for you to check out my slow cooking book in the link below.
Unfortunately, it has started to rain, so we're gonna have to seek shelter here. But I wanted to quickly tell you guys what I'm happy with in my no rules garden and what I regret. Firstly, the strawberries. They have been growing really, really good. Hardly any work, hardly any weeds, and lots of strawberries. I'm happy with them and the kids love it. Next, the lettuce. Now, I know that I hardly added any compost or fertilizer to these garden beds, and I know lettuce doesn't need a whole lot to grow. Well, I think lettuce doesn't need a lot to grow, but the lettuce has done really, really good, grown so much, more than we can even use, so I'm very grateful about that. And the other nice surprise was the beetroot. Again, I didn't know whether they're gonna grow good or bad, but as we've both seen today, the beetroot have grown really quite large. Don't know how tasty they're gonna be yet, but I'm sure they'll be very, very good. Things that I'm not sure about would be the onions out there. Look, having a closer look today, it was nice to see some good little bulbs or onions forming at the bottom, but it just took so long to get to this point that I had a lot of doubts. So I'm just not sure how they're gonna go, but I think if I just give them a little bit longer, wait in a couple more months, those onions will actually start to look really, really good. I'm also not sure about that garden bed over there. It's just in so much shade, and it's really a bit of an experiment because, yeah, like I said, it's a couple hours of sun at the most all day. I'm just not sure if that's too much shade and it will fail, but it's a good experiment anyway, and we'll see how it goes. Things that I regret would be that when I was weeding these garden beds, I did some really, really good, and others I was a little bit more slack on, and the ones that I was more slack on have grown back with so much grass and so much weeds, and honestly, it is a fair amount of work getting in there and ripping it all out. And some of those beds that have heaps of weeds, I don't think I'm gonna actually be able to fix the problem completely until I empty the bed and just start fresh again. And the other obvious one that I regret is putting 55 million, 100 zillion seeds in that one garden bed. It's just chaos. I don't know how well it's gonna grow. You can hardly even access it. There's weeds growing out of control in there. And yeah, I think in the future I'm going to do much more structured gardening. It's much more pleasing to the eye. It's easier to maintain. It's easier to keep the weeds out. You can just keep on top of things nicer, and that's just a little bit too much chaos. I do regret that a little bit. There is a whole lot of stuff to learn when it comes to gardening, but also what this has taught me is that even if you don't know a whole lot, you can just chuck a bunch of food into some garden beds, throw a bit of compost on top, and most likely it'll start producing and you'll get a lot of food. And I think there's a whole lot more food to come from this garden. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I have two favors to ask of you. First favor is to go and buy my wife's cookbook. If you've already brought her cookbook for yourself, buy one for your sister, buy one for your mum, buy one for your auntie. If you're watching this and you're thinking, oh yeah, I'll buy one for my wife, buying a cookbook for your wife is probably a little bit more risky. Hopefully it's well received, but you don't want to be telling her she's a bad cook. Either way, purchasing my wife's cookbook is the best way you can support this channel. And if it's your first time here, the only thing I ask of you is to subscribe to make sure that you don't miss out on next week's video. Bye.